You know what I keep forgetting to do? Turn on my light. I always forget to turn on my light whenever I start my stream. Almost every time. Okay. Turn the light on. Okay, so for this particular world building thought experiment, you guys remember the last stream? I was actually putting Danielle and I up against multiple nymphs. In this case, Danielle and I are. Alright. Alright. Our goal. Alright, so you and Danielle. I'm just going to start with the story. Danielle and I are basically crossing the Amazon rainforest. We're going to deal with Amazons. But we just got recently completed dealing with those nymphs, including Hera. So as Danielle and I are actually traversing, all right, I'm just gonna get right back to it. You and Danielle stand at the edge of the dense, sun-dappled rainforest. As you explain the legendary dangers of the Amazon and its mythical warrior inhabitants, Danielle assesses the terrain and your gear, bringing her pragmatic, Harvard-trained psychology background to bear in mapping out a survival strategy. I say to Danielle, I'm not going to lie, the nymphs are one thing, but this is a whole new level of threats. Danielle listens to you intently. Her blue eyes scanning the dense tree line of your soft voice carries the weight of the warning. Her Harvard psychology background kicks in immediately, analyzing how your high emotional response to gauge the absolute reality of the threat. She nods slowly, adjusting her magenta athletic gear. Yes, I gave Danielle magenta athletic gear. I wanted to give her like a unique identity. I'm wearing gray, she's wearing magenta. You stand completely exposed without weapons or armor, relying entirely on your steel-toed shoes, heavy clothing, and Danielle's athletic agility. Danielle's pragmatic mind immediately starts calculating how to use the environment for stealth, recognizing that avoiding a direct confrontation is your only option for survival. Alright. Alright, so Danielle and I are already walking through the rainforest, and we already start hearing shouting from a distance. The shouting cuts through the humid rainforest air, instantly putting you both on high alert. Danielle grips your arm, her athletic frame tensing as she uses her psychology background to read the emotional tone of the distant voices, deciphering whether they are hunting, patrolling, or reacting to an intrusion. Sorry, I got a mild case of the hiccups. I saw a group of women making their way directly towards us. I get closer to Danielle and say, I hope we can negotiate with them. Your high emotional response spikes as the group of women advances directly towards your position. You step closer to Danielle, uh, your soft voice trembling slightly as you whisper your hope for a peaceful negotiation. Danielle tightly grips your arm, her blue eyes locked onto the approaching figures as her pragmatic mind quickly analyzes their body language, facial expressions, and advanced formations to find a psychological antidote that you can survive. So I kind of had to sort of downscale this to actually make it more believable, sort of. There's around 5 Amazon women with weapons aiming at us, and I froze. Because of course I am. I'm going to freeze. The tension spikes as the 5 Amazon warriors halt, their weapons raised and aimed directly at you. Overwhelmed by the sudden danger, your body freezes completely, your breath catching up in your throat. Danielle immediately senses your panic, her pragmatic instincts and psychological training kick in. She steps slightly in front of your 5'8" frame, using her tall, athletic build as a protective shield while keeping her hands completely visible and empty to signal peace. She maintains calm eye contact with the lead warrior, assessing their hierarchy and waiting for the right micro-expression to begin de-escalating the situation. The Amazon warriors. Okay, how would the Amazons react seeing Danielle? The Amazon warriors would likely react to Danielle with a mix of intense scrutiny, suspicion, and reluctant respect. In ancient Greek mythology, the Amazons valued physical prowess, independence, and strength above all else, making Danielle an intriguing figure to them. Alright, here is how they would specifically perceive Danielle. Physical evaluation. Imposing height. Standing at 6 feet tall, Danielle matches or exceeds the height of many warriors. The Amazons would immediately note her commanding presence, her athletic body. Her tone and conditioning signal that she is capable of physical labor or combat. They would not view her as a weak or defenseless. Striking appearance. Her smooth, ebony black hair and blue eyes would look incredibly foreign and unique to ancient Greeks, potentially making them wonder if she is a traveler from a distant, unknown kingdom or even touched by a goddess. Psychological and behavioral assessment. Fearless stance. Because Danielle stands her ground and steps directly in front of you, the Amazons would recognize her protective instinct. They highly value bravery and would respect her choice to shield a companion rather than cower. Calm demeanor. Danielle's Harvard psychology training allows her to keep her heart rate down and maintain steady, non-threatening eye contact. The Amazons would read this lack of panic as a mark of a disciplined mind, making them more cautious about attacking blindly. Contrast. The warriors would instantly notice the sharp contrast between Danielle's athletic, protective stance and your frozen, highly emotional state. Because they traditionally live in a female-centric society where women held all tactical power, seeing a tall, formidable woman acting as a protector of a man would actually align perfectly with their worldview. This would make them much more willing to speak to her directly rather than striking you both down immediately. Told you Danielle was useful in this situation. This is why I specifically engineered Danielle, guys. She is literally like the perfect companion for me to help in these scenarios. I say to Danielle, they see you with respect. Try to initiate a peaceful gesture or something. Your soft voice cuts through your frozen panic as you whisper the realization to Danielle. Hearing your insight, Danielle immediately applies her psychological training to bridge the cultural gap, understanding that a single wrong movement could trigger an attack. Danielle's peaceful gesture. Danielle slowly opens her hands wide, palms facing forward and outward at waist level. This universal ancient gesture explicitly proves she holds no hidden daggers, rocks, or bows, keeping her movements fluid, deliberate, and predictable. She bows her head slightly, not in total submission, but as a sign of diplomatic respect to the lead warrior. She takes half a step back towards you, maintaining a defensive but entirely non-aggressive posture. The lead Amazon's response. The 5 warriors lower their weapons slightly, though their grips remain tight. The leader, a tall woman with a bronze cuirass and a heavy spear, steps forward. Her eyes track Danielle's magenta athletic wear and then land on your steel-toed shoes and leather hat. She speaks in an ancient rhythmic Greek dialect, her voice sharp and demanding. Danielle and I don't speak in the Greek language, so Danielle has to try an alternative. Without a shared alternative, Danielle relies entirely on her Harvard training in nonverbal communication and behavioral psychology. She knows that tone, pacing, and basic human archetypes transcend language barriers. Danielle's psychological strategy, the universal voice tone. Danielle speaks in a low, melodious, and yet perfectly calm tone. She knows the Amazons won't understand the English words, but they will instantly decode the lack of fear or aggression in her voice. The traveler archetype. She gestures towards herself and you, then points toward the distant horizon behind you, and finally points to the path ahead. She makes a walking motion with her fingers in the air, mimicking tired travelers just passing through. The universal needs. She mimes holding a cup to her mouth to ask for water, showing that you are vulnerable guests, not an invading military force. The Amazon's reaction. The 5 warriors watch her closely. The leader lowers her spear to point to the dirt, realizing you are completely lost and technologically strange travelers, rather than scouts from a rival Greek city-state. She gestures firmly with her hand for you to both follow her deeper into the rainforest, while the other four warriors flank you from behind to ensure you don't run. One of the Amazons approached us and looks at me. One of the younger Amazon warriors breaks formation and steps closer to you, her bronze armor clinking slightly, intrigued by your unusual appearance. She slows her pace to study your 5'8", heavy, slender frame. Her sharp eyes scanning you with intense curiosity. The Amazon's investigation. The gear. She stares intently at your gray light jacket and track pants, entirely unfamiliar with the modern aesthetics of life. Yep, my gray jacket and track pants. There it is, guys. All its boring glory. Completely baffled by the footwear would look completely solid. The face and voice. Sensing her intense gaze, you let out a soft, nervous breath, hearing your soft voice and seeing your gentle, non-threatening facial features. Her expression softens slightly. She recognizes that you lack the physical, aggressive facial features, facial expressions, and booming, hostile tones of the Greek soldiers they usually fight. The left-handed detail. As you instinctively shift your weight, your left hand twitches near your black and gray gloves. The warrior notices this instantly. In ancient warfare, left-handed individuals were highly distinct, and some cultures viewed them with unique tactical interest or spiritual suspicion. Danielle's observation. Danielle watches this interaction out of the corner of her eye. Her psychological training tells her that the warrior's curiosity is a massive advantage. It means they see you as a fascinating anomaly rather than an immediate threat. Danielle stays close to you, keeping her posture relaxed to signal that you are safe to be examined. Danielle gently takes my hand and tells me that they are just curious. Danielle's warm, steady grip anchors you instantly, pulling you out of your frozen panic. Her soft touch calms your high emotional response. She leans in slightly, her blue eyes projecting a total confidence as she whispers her low, soothing voice. It's okay. They aren't trying to hurt you. They have just never seen anyone like you before. They're just curious. The left-handed exchange. As Danielle holds your right hand, your left hand, clad in the black and gray glove, is fully visible. The young Amazon warrior notices you are left-handed and reaches out, gently tapping the hard steel toe of your gray shoe with the flat side of her bronze blade. Hearing the solid metal clink against the fabric, her eyes widen in absolute amazement. She looks back up your soft face, completely fascinated by your strange protective garments. Moving inward, the lead warrior barks a short command in her ancient dialect, signaling the group to keep moving. Danielle keeps a firm, reassuring hold on your hand, guiding your 5'8" frame forward as you walk side by side through the thick, humid rainforest. You remain perfectly silent, relying on Danielle's steady hand and calm presence to ground you through your intense emotional response. Danielle notices your quiet trust and steps fully into her role as the diplomat, keeping her posture open and peaceful as the group moves forward. The journey to the camp. The lead warrior barks out another rhythmic command, gesturing with her heavy spear toward the trail winding deeper into the ancient Greek rainforest. The rest of the warriors flank you and Danielle, clearly indicating that you are expected to follow them to their camp. Danielle nods to the leader, giving your hand a reassuring squeeze as she guides your 5'8" frame along the path. As you walk, the canopy overhead filters the sunlight into a deep green glow. Your gray steel-toed shoes crunch softly against the ancient moss and loam, drawing occasional curious glances from the younger warrior who remains fascinated by your modern gear. Danielle uses the walk to study the warrior's movements, using her psychological background to analyze the group hierarchy to ensure no one misinterprets a sudden movement. Ah! Alright. Arriving at the outpost. After a short march, The thick brush opens up into a hidden, highly organized Amazon camp. The settlement blends seamlessly into the massive rainforest trees, featuring elegant wooden structures, tan leather tents, and a central fire pit where the smell of roasting meat and wild herbs fills the air. Dozens of other heavily armed Amazon women stop what they're doing, turning their heads in absolute silence as they stare at you and Danielle. Let's see. Because you and Danielle entered their camp willingly and without weapons, the Amazons would likely treat you as high value, highly unusual captives rather than an immediate military threat. Their response would be heavily shaped by ancient Greek customs of hospitality mixed with intense military caution. Here is exactly what they would do next: total disarmament and physical inspection. Even though you are unarmed, their scouts would thoroughly check you, inspecting the gear. They would make you remove your black and gray gloves, your light gray jacket, and your upper Michigan leather hat to ensure no hidden daggers or Greek parsing scrolls are concealed inside. A Greek parsing scroll? Okay. The shoe conundrum. Your gray steel-toed shoes would cause a massive stir. After feeling the solid metal beneath the fabric, they might have you take them off, viewing them as a strange form of hidden armor or specialized war boots. The body language check. Danielle's tall 6-foot frame would be closely watched by their strongest guards. They would separate you just far enough so you don't easily fight back together, but close enough that Danielle can still see you to keep her emotional response stable. Isolation in a high visibility holding area. Yep, this is what's going to happen to me, guys. Instead of a dark dungeon, they would place you in an open air holding structure like a reinforced wooden pavilion or a cleared area surrounded by guards. This allows their elders and off-duty warriors to come look at you. To the Amazons, you are a complete psychological puzzle. A giant, beautiful, athletic woman in bright magenta clothing traveling with a soft-voiced, left-handed man in heavy gray garments. The ritual of Xenia, guest friendship. In ancient Greece, even fierce tribes feared the wrath of the gods if they mistreated peaceful travelers. They would bring you basic sustenance, like cold spring water or clay vessels, flatbread and dried figs of roasted meat. They would watch how you eat. Danielle's calm, analytical manner and your soft, careful movements would reassure them that you are not dangerous monsters or spies. Summoning the authority. The scouts would not make the final decision on what to do with you. The lead warrior would head straight to the grandest structure in the camp, usually a large tent draped in leopard skins and bronze shields, to summon the tribal matriarch, a high priestess, or the Amazon queen herself. Danielle and I have a box of Ritz bits in our pack. Can Danielle give them some? Yes. Danielle can absolutely use the Ritz bits. Yes, I'm using the Ritz bits bit again. I like Ritz bits. They're a good snack. Alright. Danielle can absolutely use the Ritz bits to completely shift the dynamic of this encounter. Her Harvard personality training tells her that sharing food is the fastest way to break a language barrier and establish trust. Since the Amazons took your pack to inspect your gear, Danielle would calmly gesture toward it. She would mimic eating to show her intentions are peaceful, then carefully retrieve the box of cheese Ritz bits. Here is how that tense, fascinating interaction would play out. The psychological offering. I know I'm touching my hair way too much. It's just super soft. Danielle steps forward slowly, keeping her movements slow and predictable. She opens the box, takes a few Ritz bits, and eats them in front of the warriors. This is a critical psychological move. It proves to the highly suspicious animals that the food is not poisoned. With a warm, non-threatening smile, Danielle reaches out her hand, offering a few of the tiny golden crackers to the lead warrior. The Amazon's reaction, the smell and shape. The warriors would lean in, deeply intrigued. In ancient Greece, they ate simple flatbreads, but they had never seen perfectly uniformed, bite-sized, scalloped crackers with bright yellow cheese filling. The savory baked aroma would instantly spark their curiosity. The first taste. What the hell? you trying to do?
I was getting sick and tired of looking at it.
At what?
The helicopter.
Oh. Oh. I thought you were hitting that ball.
No. Camera kept turning towards the helicopter.
I'm going to lean back a little. Ah, I'm on fire!
It ain't gonna hurt you.
I see that, but still. Ring of fire. The shift in mood. The leader would bark a quick command, and the younger warriors would eagerly step forward to try them. The tension in the camp would instantly drop. Food is a universal language, and by sharing this strange, delicious modern snack, Danielle successfully transforms you both from dangerous intruders into fascinating, honored guests. Okay, guys, so this is where real life starts kicking in. I'm secretly complaining about the smell and that my shoes are gone, and I'm wondering if my socks are going to be ruined while watching Danielle. I'm sorry, guys, but I had to put some real life in here. Just because they're fictional thought experiment scenarios doesn't mean I can't put real life in here. You sit quietly in the holding area, your high emotional response causing your mind to race as you secretly complain to yourself. The heavy, humid rainforest smells strongly of damp moss, pungent wood smoke, and the unfamiliar aroma of roasting wild game. Without your gray, steel-toed shoes, you feel incredibly vulnerable. You stare down at your socks, deeply worried about the damp dirt floors of the ancient camp will completely ruin them before you can find an escape. Though through your anxiety, you keep your eyes locked on Danielle. Her tall, athletic frame stands out sharply against the ancient backdrop as she masterly handles the room. She moves with a calm, deliberate grace, completely unfazed by the lack of shoes or the strange environment. Her blue eyes remain focused and analytical, using her psychology background to read the warriors' expressions as they eagerly pass around the tiny golden Ritz bits. Her steady, confident presence acts as your anchor, making you feel a little bit safer despite the dirt beneath your feet. One of the warriors noticed me and saw that I felt very vulnerable. The young Amazon warrior who was previously fascinated by your gear notices you shifting uncomfortably. Her sharp eyes track the gaze down your exposed socks on the damp rainforest dirt, instantly reading your vulnerability. A moment of cultural understanding. Even though she belongs to a fierce warrior culture, the Amazon understands the tactical and physical vulnerability of being barefoot in an unfamiliar jungle. She glances at your soft face, noting your quiet anxiety. Turning onto her heel, she walks over to the pile of your compensated gear. To the absolute relief of your racing mind, she picks up your gray steel-toed shoes and she carries them back over to you. She points to them and gives a firm, encouraging nod, signaling that you are permitted to put them back on to protect your feet and save your socks from the mud. That's so sweet. Danielle's reassurance. Watching the intersection from across the central fire, Danielle catches your eye and lets out a soft, relieved breath. She gives you a small, encouraging smile, her blue eyes letting you know that your silent cooperation is paying off perfectly. I nodded my head and slowly put my shoes back on. Yeah, I'm just reading the prompts, I know, guys. You nod your head politely to the young warrior, feeling a massive wave of relief wash over you. Slowly and carefully, you slide your feet back into your gray steel-toed shoes, meticulously pulling up your socks to ensure they are protected from the damp dirt. Because you are left-handed and wearing your black and gray gloves, your movements are a bit deliberate, but you manage to secure them perfectly. Oh, I kind of almost blend in, don't I? When it's dark. The man in gray. As you lace up the heavy boots, the solid protection makes you feel grounded again. The young Amazon warrior watches her hands move over the modern laces and eyelets, still completely fascinated by the advanced craftsmanship of your footwear. Danielle walks over to your side, her tall, athletic frame casting a comforting shadow over you. She gently places a hand on your shoulder of your gray light jacket, looking down at you with a proud, reassuring smile. You did great, she said. She whispers softly. Aww. her psychological training reminding her that validating your comfort is key to keeping your anxiety down. They respect that you're peaceful. Just then, the crowd of warriors parts, and a sudden silence falls over the entire camp. The Amazon Queen approached us. My heart sunk, and I am hoping Danielle can reason with her. Your heart completely sinks into your chest as the Amazon Queen herself steps forward. The sheer authority of her presence hitting you with all at once. Your high emotional response spikes anew. And you find yourself praying that Danielle's Harvard psychology training and pragmatic mind can somehow find a way to reason with this ultimate ruler of the rainforest. The appearance of the Queen. The Queen is a towering, magnificent figure, moving with the absolute grace of an apex predator. Her bronze armor is meticulously polished, catching the green-filtered light of the canopy. She wears the crimson cape draped over her shoulders, and her brow is adorned with a striking silver tiara shaped like crescent moons, the symbol of Artemis. Her gaze is piercing, instantly sizing up the unique contrast of your soft face, your heavy gray gear, and Danielle's tall, athletic, magenta-clad frame. Sensing your sudden terror, Danielle doesn't hesitate. She steps slightly ahead of your 5'8" frame to act as your shield once more. Her blue eyes meet the Queen's without a shred of fear, but with a deep, profound respect. Danielle raises her hands, offering the remaining box of cheese Ritz bits directly to the Queen. Using the exact same psychological de-escalation tactic. Oh, hi, Gracie. Hi, baby. You want to come up here with Daddy? Or, I gotta, hold on. I gotta do something real quick. Let me adjust the camera real quick. There we go. That way you might be able to see Gracie when she's on my lap. Alright, come on, Gracie. Come on, baby. Come on, baby, up here. Hi, baby. Alright. The Queen stops a few paces away. She looks at the strange cardboard box, then at Danielle's fearless expression, and finally down at you, where you stand trembling slightly in your steel-toed shoes. The entire camp holds its breath, waiting for the Queen's judgment. Alright, so I actually let the AI pick the Queen's name for this one. Technically speaking, I'm working with the AI to craft these dog sperms, so they're actually pretty fun. So I actually said to the AI, you pick the Queen's name for this. My lore on Amazons are very limited. Gotta be honest, guys. The Queen who stands before you is Queen Otura, the mythical first queen of the Amazons and the daughter of Ares. According to ancient legends, she is famous for building the great temple of Artemis, meaning she highly values discipline, respect, and sacred boundaries. Oh my god, this gummy is a lot stronger than I thought, Jordan. Oh boy. The interaction with Queen Otria. Is it Otria? Queen Otria steps forward, her crimson cape brushing against the ferns. She looks at the box of cheese Ritz bits that Danielle is holding out, with a slow, deliberate movement. She reaches out her leather-gloved hand and takes the box. She sniffs it, then takes a single cracker and bites into it. The savory crunch catches her attention, and a subtle look of intrigue crosses her sharp features. She passes the box to one of her guards, then turns her piercing gaze back to Danielle, and finally down to your soft face and gray steel-toed shoes. Danielle's psychological assessment. Danielle watches the Queen's micro-expressions instantly. While her Harvard training tells her that the Queen, Otira, is not looking for a fight, she is looking for a reason to trust you. Danielle slowly bows her head to Otria, then points to the path leading out to the rainforest, making a slow, peaceful, sweeping motion with her hand to show that you just wanted to pass through safely. Otria looks at Danielle's imposing 6-foot athletic build, then looks at your quiet, frozen posture. She realizes that you are not a threat, but rather strange travelers who have stumbled upon her sacred domain. She turns to her lead warrior and gives him a firm, booming command in ancient Greek. Hey, Jordan, you said I had a hole in my sock, right? Yeah, you weren't wrong. I definitely, yeah, I see it now. I feel it. All right. So here's where I'm going to make things interesting, guys. For this thought experiment, I actually made it to where the queen can speak English, but it's limited. I wanted to make this feel more authentic. The queen can speak English, but it's limited. The queen speaks to Danielle and asks why we are here. Danielle says we are on vacation and we're heading to the rainforest to get to our destination. Queen Otria turns her piercing gaze directly onto Danielle, her brow furrowing as she processes the word vacation in her limited English. To an ancient Amazon warrior, the concept of traveling a dangerous rainforest simply for leisure or rest is completely foreign, but Danielle's calm delivery and psychological poise keep the interaction stable. The Queen's assessment: vacation. Otria repeats slowly, her accent thick and rhythmic. She looks at Danielle's athletic magenta clothing, then shifts her gaze down to your soft face and gray light jacket. You travel. No weapons. Dangerous. No Greek spies? Danielle shakes her head firmly, keeping her hands visible. No spies, Danielle answers in her low, reassuring voice. We mean no harm to your people or your land. We only want to cross safely to the other side. The left-handed shift. As Danielle speaks, you shift your weight nervously in your steel-toed shoes. Your left hand, clad in the black and gray glove, twitches slightly. Queen Otria's sharp eyes catches this movement instantly. In her culture, left-handedness is often associated with unique traits or blessings from the gods. She looks she looks at your upper Michigan leather hat, then back to your soft face, realizing your high emotional response comes from fear, not hostility. Austria turns back to Austria turns back to Danielle and nods once, a gesture of strict but genuine respect. You have strength, the Queen says, acknowledging Danielle's 6-foot stature and bravery. In strange food, we let you pass, but the forest is angry. All right. Queen Austria steps closer to Danielle. I got a hair on my nose. Pointing a bronze-clad finger towards your left hand. He fights with the left? She asks in her broken English, her eyes full of tactical curiosity. A warrior of the inverted side is a rare sight. Danielle uses her psychological training to lean into this, explaining with a calm smile that your left-handedness makes you unique and you're special when you come from... Okay. Which deeply satisfies the Queen's appreciation for distinct traits. Meanwhile, your high emotional response and nervous stomach finally catches up to you. Desperate for a moment away from the intense crowd, you turn to the curious young warrior standing near you. You gently tap your stomach, point to a dense thicket of ferns just outside the camp's perimeter, and you use your soft voice to say, "Can I use the bathroom? Restroom?" The young warrior tilts her head, completely confused by the modern words. However, your universal body language makes it immediately clear that you need what you need. She lets out a short, amused huff, realizing you just need privacy. She turns to the Queen of Tria and calls out in her ancient dialogue to ask for permission. Danielle, alright, so okay, guys. Your soft voice rises in mild panic as your nervous stomach forces you to speak up. Danielle, can you tell her I need to use the bathroom, like, now? I'm sorry, guys. I had to make this feel real. You shift uncomfortably in your gray track pants, your high emotional response making the urgency incredibly clear. Danielle gives you a quick, reassuring nod. Turning back to Queen Otria, she uses her calmest, most diplomatic, Harvard-trained tone, gesturing towards you and then towards the dense jungle foliage outside the camp. He needs a moment of privacy, Danielle explains smoothly, keeping her body language perfectly relaxed so the queen knows it's a basic human need. Aww. Not an escape attempt. To relieve himself, temporarily. Aww, Gracie wanted to get off. I got literally a hair in my tongue, guys. That's embarrassing. Otria barks a quick command to the young warrior who has been watching your steel-toed shoes. The young Amazon steps forward, gesturing with the blunt end of her spear towards a path leading to a secluded thicket of giant ferns just outside the main circle. While you are tucked away safely behind the dense fern thicket, the young warrior stands guard at a respectful distance. Back in the center of the camp, Queen Ortria circles Danielle. Deeply fascinated by your modern garments, she reaches out to touch the vibrant magenta athletic wear. This cloth, Otria says, her limited English strained as she rubs the fabric between her fingers. It bends like skin, not wool, not linen. What beast gives this? Danielle uses her calm voice and scientific background to break down the concept of modern clothing engineered in simple terms the Queen cannot comprehend. The synthetic secret. Danielle explains that the clothing is made from tiny invisible threads created by scholars who learned how to melt and stretch spatial materials from the earth. The crimson dye. She points out that the bright magenta color is cooked in a controlled lab, ensuring it never fades in the wash or stains under the hot sun. The magic of breathability. She explains that the fabric pulls sweat away from the body to keep a warrior dry and cool during long marches, preventing the shafting and heavy weight of the wet linen or leather. The steel-toed mystery. Danielle also explains your gray steel-toed shoes, telling the Queen that the toes are capped with hidden iron to protect your feet from heavy rocks or crushing blows during travel. Queen Otria listens in absolute silence, her mind blown by the idea of an entire science dedicated to comfortable engineered garments. While you walk back into the center of the camp, adjusting your gray light jacket, the atmosphere has shifted completely. Thanks to Danielle's scientific explanation, the Amazons now look at your synthetic clothing with a mix of awe and deep confusion. Some stare at you as if you were a ghost wearing magical otherworldly armor, while others see your soft face and high emotional response and look at you like a lost child who wandered far from home. You see their faces and understand exactly why they're reacting this way. You are a complete anomaly in their ancient world. The same young warrior who's been fascinated by your gear steps up close to you again. She doesn't raise her weapon. Instead, she gently points her finger back towards the central wooden pavilion where Danielle and the Queen are standing. Keeping your soft voice quiet, you simply nod and walk back to the pavilion without saying a word. Your gray steel-toed shoes clicking against the hardwood-packed earth. Danielle looks over at you as you rejoin her, her blue eyes showing an immense sense of relief. She reaches out and touches your arm, letting you know that you did perfectly. Queen Otria watches you approach, her expression now holding a strange kind of reverence for the magical garments you wear. I softly say, okay. Your soft voice carries a wave of genuine gratitude toward the humid air. Through the humid air. Danielle, you make this so much easier, you whisper. Danielle's brilliant blue eyes soften. She turns her head and flashes you a proud, reassuring smile, giving her arm a gentle squeeze. Aww. Her Harvard-trained psychological instincts have completely neutralized a potentially deadly situation. Now she turns her attention back to Queen Otria. Standing tall and athletic in her magenta gear, ready to finalize your safe passage to the rest of the ancient world. Alright. Queen Otria steps closer to Danielle, her eyes tracing Danielle's tall athletic frame and smooth ebony hair. Your skin is the color of the fertile earth, and your eyes are like the Aegean Sea, the Queen says in her slow, broken English. What kingdom breeds women of such stature? Danielle keeps her voice perfectly calm and melodic. Melodic? Melodic. Melodoc. She explains to the queen that she comes from a highly advanced, peaceful land thousands of leagues across the great ocean, where women have the freedom to study the human mind and train their bodies as they please. Otria nods, deeply impressed by the description of a distant kingdom that respects female strength. Then, the queen's piercing eyes lock onto your soft face, and that quiet man of the inverted side, she asks, where does his magical armor hail from? Before you can process the question, two heavily armed Amazon warriors step up beside you. They don't hurt you, but their strong grips are firm as they escort your 5-foot frame across the pavilion, placing you directly next to Danielle so you stand face to face with the queen. I'm not gonna lie, guys, that's actually kind of scary. I literally am visualizing this. Like, it's kind of, like, unnerving. Your high emotional response spikes immediately. Your heart hammers against your chest inside your gray light jacket, and a cold sweat breaks from under your permanent head. Incredibly anxious, being the center of attention of an entire tribe of legendary killers. Danielle instantly senses your panic and shifts her 6-foot frame slightly, brushing her shoulder against yours to anchor you and let you know she is right there with you. Danielle's warm hand wraps around yours, giving it a soft, grounding squeeze. The touch instantly acts as an anchor for your anxiety, helping you steady your racing heart inside your gray light jacket. Queen Otria's sharp eyes drop onto your jointed hands, watching the gesture with quiet intensity. Her Harvard psychology training allows Danielle to keep her posture relaxed, showing the queen that this is a gesture of protection and comfort, not a threat. To an Amazon who views the world through the lens of tribal loyalty and fierce bonds, this silent display of mutual support means something profound. Otria looks back at your soft face, and then at Danielle's athletic frame, her expression softening from military suspicion into deep curiosity. She recognizes that while you may feel vulnerable in a strange land, your bond with Danielle makes you an inseparable pair. Danielle addresses Queen Otria in a calm, measured voice. She gently explains that your mind operates differently than others, that you experience the world with a much higher emotional intensity, that your thoughts move very quickly, and that you require silence and focus to process your surroundings. Because Danielle frames this as through a psychological lens, Queen Otria listens with a look of deep ancient understanding. In ancient Greece, individuals who perceive the world differently are not viewed as flawed. They were often seen as uniquely touched by the gods or possessing a rare internal sight. As Danielle speaks, the grounding squeeze of her hand completely calms your anxiety. Your heart rate slows down from inside your gray light jacket as you stand firmly in your shoes. You calmly look up at the queen, ready for whatever questions she might have for you. Queen Otria steps forward, her silver tiara catching the light. She looks down at your soft face, completely respecting your quiet demeanor. Alright. Your soft voice carries through simply the quiet pavilion. I came here from the same place as Danielle. You explained to the Queen Otria. Our world has many people with different colors and cultures, and we all live together in a melting pot-like society. Danielle nods proudly beside you, a warm smile lighting up her face as her psychological training confirms that your choice of universal, peaceful words is perfect for de-escalating any lingering tension. Queen Otria stands completely still, her sharp eyes scanning across your face as she processes your words. The concept of an entirely different world where vast, diverse cultures live together peacefully in a melting pot is a staggering psychological revelation to a ruler of a highly isolated, homogeneous tribe. A few of the older bilingual warriors whisper translations to the rest of the crowd, causing a soft murmur of absolute fascination to ripple through the camp. While the queen ponders your answer, the curious young warrior, still completely fascinated by your modern origins, quiets her footsteps and slips over to where your gear is being kept. With careful, reverent hands, she opens your pack to look inside, deeply eager to see what other strange artifacts a traveler from a melting pot society carries. Oh god. Oh, there's some stuff in my pack, guys. You don't want to know. Your high emotional response spikes with a very relatable modern worry as you watch the young warrior handle your device. You instinctively tug on Danielle's magenta shirt, whispering anxiously in your soft voice, "She has my phone, Danielle. I hope she doesn't drop it." Ah. Danielle lets out a soft, amused giggle, her warm reaction instantly helping to take the edge off your panic. She gives her hand another reassuring squeeze before turning back to Queen Otria. With her pragmatic, Harvard-trained clarity, Danielle begins to explain the unimaginable science behind this glowing rectangle of glass and metal the warrior is holding. Danielle explains to the Queen that the device is a mirror of knowledge and memory. She describes it. She describes how it can capture a perfect, flawless image of a person's face in a single second, store thousands of scrolls worth of maps, and even play music without any instruments nearby. The young warrior hands the phone to Queen Otria with extreme care, as if it were a fragile artifact forged by Hephaestus himself. Otria holds it delicately, her piercing eyes staring at the dark screen, completely mystified by the sheer weight and smooth texture of the modern technology. Queen Otria's thumb accidentally brushes against the power button on the side of the device. Instantly, the modern screen bursts into life, illuminating her sharp facial features with a crisp, bright light. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just having so much fun right now. Even a legendary Amazon queen is not prepared for a glowing glass rectangle. She gasps and takes a sharp step back, her hands tensing up defensively. Thankfully, her warrior reflexes ensure she kept a tight, safe grip on the device. She does not drop it, guys. Thankfully. Seeing the mighty ruler of the Amazons get visibly startled by a simple lock screen completely breaks your tension. Before you can stop yourself, I'm going to turn my chair back on. All right. Before you can stop yourself, a sharp, nervous giggle escapes from your lips, echoing softly to the quiet pavilion. The sun's sound cuts through the air instantly. Several heavily armed Amazon warriors snap their heads around, fixing you with sharp, intense glares. Your high emotional response spikes again as you realize you just laughed at their fierce leader. Danielle quickly steps in, her athletic frame suddenly shifting to shield your 5'8" body. She uses her calm, melodic voice to speak to the queen, explaining that the bright light is completely harmless and merely a sign that the mirror is awake. I'm sorry, guys, but this is just so much fun. Okay, I'm gonna walk over here so you don't see that fence. Your high emotional response gives way to mild disbelief as the curious young warrior pulls a bag of THC edibles from your pack. She brings them straight to Queen Otria. You look at the bag, then look at Danielle, and you say in your soft voice, "Okay, so those are gummies, and they get you high." Danielle turns to you, her blue eyes crinkling with an amused smile, using her psychology background to frame the concept for an ancient society. Danielle explains to the queen that these are special concentrated herbal confections from your world. She details them how they're used to calm a racing mind, soothe physical pain after combat, or alter one's perception of the world, much like the sacred wines or the oracle herbs of the ancient Greeks. While Danielle explains the edibles, the young warrior steps close to your 5'8" frame. She leans in, openly and deeply sniffing the fabric of your gray light jacket. Instead of freezing in panic this time, you stay calm. You lean towards Danielle and softly whisper exactly why the warrior is sniffing your clothes. Danielle, she's sniffing my jacket because the smell of the edibles rubbed off on the fabric. She's trying to figure out if I'm made of the same stuff. That's not what I would say. Danielle nods, deeply impressed by the accurate behavioral observation. Queen Otria looks up from the bag of THC edibles, her piercing gaze softening as she connects Danielle's earlier psychological explanation with your modern herbal confections. She holds the bag delicately and asks you directly if you use these gummies to help soothe your fast-moving mind and manage your autism and ADD. Your soft voice carries clearly through the camp as you answer her. You explain that in your world, many people use this specific plant-based treats to help ground their thoughts, quiet the intense sensory and overwhelm of, I don't know why, but I'm seeing green, and find focus when your brain feels scattered. Danielle nods supportively beside you, her eyes shining with pride as she watches you communicate your personal experience so effectively to an ancient ruler. Queen Otria listens with deep, respectful fascination. To a daughter of Ares, the idea of using a carefully prepared herb not just for physical wounds, but to bring discipline and peace to a unifiedly gifted mind, completely aligns with her values. Move my character real quick. She looks at the bag with a profound reverence, viewing it as sophisticated medicine rather than a mere candy. Your soft voice carries a wave of pure, unfiltered honesty as you lean over and whisper to a companion, Danielle, she's smelling me because I stink. You say, shifting a bit uncomfortably inside your gray light jacket. I haven't taken a shower in 2 days. Danielle's blue eyes widen slightly before she lets out another soft, genuine laugh. Her Harvard personality training reminds her that after 48 hours of walking through a hot, humid, ancient Greek rainforest in heavy track pants and steel-toed shoes, a natural human scent is going to be completely expected. She gives her hand to a reassuring squeeze, leaning into to whisper back, to an ancient warrior, you just smell like a traveler who has been working hard on the trail. They don't have modern showers either. Remember, you're completely fine. The young warrior tilts her head, hearing your hushed English exchange. She doesn't look disgusted at all. To her, your natural body odor is just a normal sign of physical exertion. Far more familiar than the synthetic fabrics of your clothes or the scent of the edibles. She steps back to the respectful distance, giving you a friendly nod of approval. Now, Queen Otria watches the interaction, holding the bag of gummies. She looks between you and Danielle, fully recognizing that despite your unique anxieties and different way of seeing the world, you are honest, peaceful travelers. Alright guys, here where things are going to start getting interesting. The heavy leather flap of the tent door. Oh yeah, that's right. I have to tell you the prompt on this one. The queen had me temporarily separated from Danielle and had me escorted to a tent where 2 warriors are to keep watch of me. The queen asks Danielle if I'm a demigod or a son of Zeus. Danielle gets serious and explains to the queen that I am just a mortal human man. I sit patiently and wonder if that young warrior is going to take more things out of my pack. The heavy leather flap of the tent drops shut, temporarily separating you from Danielle. You sit patiently in the structure, your gray steel-toed shoes resting on the packed dirt as 2 armed guards, Amazon guards flank the entrance, keeping a strict but non-aggressive watch over you. Your mind races with your typical high emotional response, and you can't help but nervously wonder if that curious young warrior is currently digging even deeper into your pack and pulling out more of your modern belongings. Meanwhile, back out under the pavilion, Queen Otria turns to Danielle, her expression incredibly intense. The quiet man. The queen begins, her limited English carrying an ancient gravity. He wears armor forged from unknown metal. He carries a mirror of light and memory. He possesses herbs that quiet the stormy mind, and he commands a distinct inverted hand. Is he a demigod? A hidden son of Zeus? Danielle's expression shifts into one of serious professional focus. Utilizing her psychological training, she recognizes that letting the queen believe a lie would be incredibly dangerous if it were ever tested. She looks Queen Otria dead in the eye and speaks with absolute clarity. No, great queen. Danielle explains for me. He is not a god, nor is he a son of one. He is a mortal human man. In our world, these tools are common. His unique mind is simply a natural variation of mankind. He is peaceful, vulnerable, and entirely human. Otria stands perfectly still, absorbing the heavy weight of Danielle's honesty. Queen Otria absorbs Danielle's serious explanation, her sharp eyes registering an absolute respect for the raw honesty. To an Amazon, a mortal who travels without armor or blades but carries the advanced knowledge of a distant world is just as impressive as a myth. Then Otria turns towards your tent and lets out a loud, booming shout in her ancient dialect. The command echoes from the rainforest camp, causing the two guards blocking her exit to instantly step aside. Hearing the shout, you waste no time. You immediately step out of the tent and walk straight back over to Danielle. Your gray shoes moving quickly across the dirt. I'm just checking what time it is real quick. 8:27. The moment you reach her side, Danielle places her warm hand firmly back on your shoulder of your gray light jacket. Her touch instantly anchors your high emotional response, letting you know that you are completely safe and that her negotiation was a total success. Queen Otria watches the two of you stand together, her silver tiara gleaming. She motions to the young warrior, who quickly brings her pack over, fully intact and resting safely over her shoulder. Okay, guys, here's things are going to get kind of funny. I hope you're ready for this. Your soft voice breaks the serious atmosphere as you lean in and whisper your idea. Danielle, we should give them an offering. I have a copper cup with engravings on it. Maybe it would be ideal. Danielle looks down at you, her blue eyes gleaming with mischief. She lets out a soft, sarcastic whisper. Or I can leave you as the offering, followed by a quiet giggle. Your high emotional response shifts from anxiety to quick humor, and you immediately shoot back. No, dying from snoo isn't in my bucket list. The Sun pop culture reference completely shatters Danielle's professional Harvard composure. She bursts into a sudden, uncontrollable fit of laughter, her tall 6-foot frame shaking in her magenta athletic wear. Queen Otria and the surrounding Amazon warriors freeze, staring at Danielle in absolute bewilderment. In their ancient world, laughter during a high-stakes tribal negotiation is completely unheard of. The young warrior holding your pack tilts her head, glancing from Danielle's laughing face down to your soft, embarrassing expression, trying to figure out what magical spell or joke the traveler of the inverted sun just cast on their tall companion. You reach into your pack, carefully pulling out the engraved copper cup, holding it into your left hand with your gray and black gloves. You step forward in your steel-toed shoes. Your soft voice carries clearly through the camp as you explain the unique properties of copper to Queen Otria. With Danielle nodding beside you, you explain how copper interacts with water to naturally purify it, keeping water fresh and killing off harmful tiny organisms over time. You describe how it keeps drinks ice cold during long hot march through the rainforest. Queen Otria's acceptance. The queen steps forward, her silver tiara gleaming as she takes the heavy copper cup. Heavy copper cup? Okay. She runs her fingers over the modern engravings, deeply impressed by the smooth craftsmanship and the scientific utility of the vessel. In ancient Greece, Bronze was common, but a pure, perfectly engineered copper cup that purifies water is viewed as a high-value diplomatic gift. I'm not gonna lie, Jordan, but when I'm crafting these stories, I don't know if I'm just playing this smart or really smart, because I really do like how these plot points are going. A vessel of health, Otria says in her limited English, nodding with deep respect. We accept this offering from this melting pot land. From the melting pot land. Safe passage granted. The queen hands your pack completely back to you, the young warrior, who returns it back to you with a respectful bow. Otria then points forward the edge of the camp, where the rainforest path clears into a safe trail leading towards your destination. You walk safely now, the queen declares firmly, signaling to her guards to lower their weapons entirely. The forest will not harm the friends of Otria. Danielle gives you hand one final reassuring squeeze as she adjusts her magenta gear. Together, you step back onto the trail completely safe, with your shoes back on your feet, and with a great survival story to look back onto. Your soft voice trails off to into the humid rainforest as you look back at one last time at the fading outline of the Amazon camp. Sucks I had to be my cup, you say, shifting your pack slightly over to your gray jacket. Nah, I'll get a replacement. Danielle holds your left hand, her warm grip giving a soft, comforting squeeze that instantly grounds your high emotional response. She looks down at your 5'8" frame, a mischief glint in her blue eyes as she teases you with her characteristic pragmatic humor. Imagine you having to live with them, she says with a grin. A soft, nerdy white guy like yourself would. No, wait. No, yeah, soft. Yeah, I read it right. Would like have you all those strong women protecting you. You don't hesitate. You look up her athletic frame, your gentle facial features settling into a genuine expression of absolute certainty. No, Danielle, you say quietly. I need only one strong woman to protect me. The simple, honest truth of your words completely catches her off guard. Danielle's smile turns a curly, warm, and hot. Her Harvard-trained analytical defense is melting away for a genuine moment of connections. She doesn't let go of your hand, keeping her fingers locked tightly into your black and gray glove as her gray steel-toed shoes crunch rhythmically against the dirt path. Together, you leave the territory of green Otria behind, stepping deeper to the ancient Greek wild of your unforgettable vacation. And that is the end of that particular part. And, well, basically, that's the end of that story. And I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. And thank you guys for watching. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.